Welcome to our lecture on consciousness. This is an awareness of self as well as your environment. It allows us to reflect on our past, adapt to our present, and plan for our future. It focuses our attention when learning complex concepts or behaviors. It helps cope with these novel situations and work towards our long-term interests. States of the mind. So the first is attention, psychological selection mechanism that determines which stimuli an organism responds or perceives. There's selective attention, and this is focusing on a particular stimulus. 60% of US drivers have admitted to reading or sending a text message, or at the very least, viewing a phone map, setting up a phone map, putting in navigation, all while driving just in the last month. So think about how your attention is on your phone and not on the road and how dangerous that can be. Think about if you found out that you were taking off in an airplane and you caught wind that your pilot, while taxiing up, was texting their spouse. How you would freak out about that, right? It's the same thing in a motor vehicle. So the selective attention when it comes to state of mind is very important. When it comes to multitasking, it distracts the brain and uses these resources allocated to driving, and your brain activity decreases. So on average, 30% of your brain is distracted when another conversation is occurring. Cell phone use increases accident risk fourfold. Someone on a cell phone is going to increase the likelihood of an accident 4 times higher than those that just put their phone away, put it in their purse, or sit it on the chair next to them so they are out of reach. There was an 18-month video camera study done on driving habits of long haul truckers, and it found that when they were texting, their risk of collision increased 23 times. Think about that, 23 times more likely to crash when they were looking at their phone. The next is unintentional blindness. Have you ever missed seeing something that was right there in front of your eyes? This phenomenon is known as inattentional blindness. This is when you miss an object, people, or an event within your line of vision simply because your attention is elsewhere. If left unchecked, it can lead to car accidents, medical mishaps, or other serious problems, especially if you combine the use of alcohol or substance to it. The last is change blindness. Now, this is a failure to notice changes in the environment around you. It's a form of unintentional blindness. There was actually a study done to test change blindness, and a man in a red shirt provided directions to another person, and in this directions that were going on, two people just sort of rudely stepped in between them, okay? Had a door and just sort of stepped in between the two people. And during this sort of interruption, the original man in the red shirt left, and someone wearing a different colored shirt, I think it was blue, stepped in and started finishing the directions. Most of the people that were in that experiment, the person that was receiving the directions, focused solely on what the directions were and had no idea that the person was completely different, wearing a completely different shirt. So this is a very interesting study, and it happens all the time. There's very few people who would notice something like that sort of situational awareness. So an interesting use of change blindness. Dual processing and blind sight awareness. So dual processing is information is often simultaneously processed on separate sort of areas. So separate consciousness. And this is explicit and implicit. Conscious, explicit, unconscious, implicit tracks. So much of our processing is sort of out of sight, right? It's unconscious, it's out of sight, out of mind. Perceptions, memories, attitudes, and other cognitions are affected by this. They all occur on two levels. The brain has the ability to convert conscious learning to unconscious knowledge, which is super cool, in my opinion. Blind sight awareness. This is when a person can respond to a visual stimulus without consciously ever experiencing it. Visual perception track. This is you sort of recognize things and plan for the future. So thinking about the world. Visual action track guides our moment to moment actions. Hypnosis is a state of altered consciousness. It's characterized by deep relaxation and detachment, as well as heightened suggestibility to the hypnotist directive. This has been used to improve athletic performance, relief of physical ailments, pain relief, as well as memory enhancement. Keep in mind, they can never make you do or say anything you would normally not do or say. That's something that was made for TV. Real hypnosis is not, it's not that. It doesn't do that. You're not gonna like, cluck like a chicken every time you hear your finger snap. That's not real. It doesn't happen. But there is post-hypnotic suggestion. Now, this suggestion or instruction to the hypnotized person motivates that person to perform an action or actions after returning to a normal state of consciousness. This could be used to, be better at sports, to talk about previous trauma, to dig deep and to find sort of where things are. There's the disassociated theory, which is a theory of hypnosis proposed by Hilgard, in which our behavior becomes separated or disassociated from our actual awareness. There's hypnotic suggestibility, and this is sort of the predisposition to attain the suggestion. So the hypnotist is suggesting something, and you're just sort of taking it. You're susceptible to it. Hilgard argued, though, that um, hypnosis causes a disassociated sort of state or a split in awareness. The hidden observer is aware of pain, but it remains sort of in the background, the back burner of the brain. And non state theorists argue that hypnosis is a blend of being comfortable and relaxed and getting your imagination going, being obedient, and really role playing. But how it works is a basic suggestion effect. The tendency to carry out suggested actions as if they were involuntary. Their focused attention on what is said, you relax and you feel tired. Let's go and accept suggestions, right? Use this vivid imagination. You sort of become what's in the back of your mind. You can dig deeper into it because you're more aware of it. And there's also a term or a phrase called hypnos ability. And this is simply, are you able to be hypnotized or not? Some people can never get into that relaxed state, can never get to that level of actually fully being able to tap into memories that are there, but just not in the forefront. I hope you've enjoyed this lecture.